Hello, so this is day 12 of our Pavlik Harness, and things have moved on a little bit since yesterday. So I was waiting for a physio to come back to me to talk about my concerns with Max's harness. It felt like we were waiting quite a long time for that, but I did manage to get through to somebody, and somebody did come back to me. The lady was actually really lovely, and I explained what my concerns were. I explained that the harness was slipping and I couldn't pull it back. I explained that Max appeared to be super uncomfortable and he was crying in a way that I hadn't heard him cry before, and I sort of talked her through what I'd done with trying to go to the hospital here, speaking to a registrar back in the UK and stuff like that. So what she did want to do is to try and have a video call with me, given there was no way that I'd be able to come in and see anyone anytime soon. So she WhatsApp called me. It was a different physio to who I'd seen before, and that actually may have been why I was given different information. So she was asking whether we'd been told to remove Max's harness, what we'd been told to do with his booties, with his straps. So again, I'd explained that we'd been sort of not really given much information, and that's where a lot of my concern, stress and frustration had come from. So she did go through a little bit of information to do with the harness for us, which was great, and then she wanted to inspect Max as best she could over WhatsApp call. So my husband was sort of taking lead on the camera, sort of standing behind me so she could have like a clear view of Max, and we sort of took her around the harness. We showed her all the strappings, his legs, and we talked her through what the issue was, and sort of straight away she sort of spotted it. I didn't even really need to do much. Sort of she said, no, that really does need adjusting, which is reassuring a little bit, but a little bit annoying in another sense, given that I had spoken to somebody and they had said that it would be okay, and like to think that we were going to leave Max like that for another 5 days. You know, it's not a nice feeling as a parent to think that your child is going to be uncomfortable and he can't really communicate that. Well, he can't at all communicate that to us. So what we did is we had to sort of loosen off the shoulder straps, and then we had to loosen the suspension straps when she was giving really clear instructions, and sort of telling us sort of to the centimetre and sort of millimetre really what we needed to adjust it by, as the hips have to stay in a certain position for it to be effective, and they have to sort of remain at 90 degrees and all stuff like that. So we were very carefully adjusting it as per her instructions, and we would sort of stop and she would reassess, and then we'd sort of do another little bit. And what she did do is give us a little bit of guidance on what we should be looking out for. So when we actually released Max's right leg strap, which is the leg actually that was problematic, his skin had obviously been held so tightly that it was all sort of concertinaed. It was like bubbled, where he'd had like the strap quite tight around his leg, and we didn't know that was wrong. You know, we'd literally just been told not to touch it. So we sort of allowed him to have a little bit of a kick about. We done some cleaning. When he stretched his leg out, the smell that came from the back of his leg, I could only relate it to it, and sort of she had related it the same thing, sort of that smell that you'd get if you were digging around in your belly button. Like, it really wasn't nice. We had sort of been trying to clean it with a wet wipe, sort of just like shimmying it to and fro in the crease, but you know, with sweat and a week's worth of like baby dirt and stuff like that, it wasn't great. His skin was quite red under there and quite sore. It was more sore on one side than the other, but we gave him a wipe down and some pseudo cream, and then we sort of fastened him back up, and we done that on both sides. And you know, when I look at how the straps were now, like I said already, like, it really upsets me that we'd left him like that. So on one of his legs, the rear suspension strap, so this is the strap that sort of leads from the back, it's almost like a plastic channel that the cable or the strap goes through, and it should sit sort of straight within that channel. And where it was so small for him, it had bunched right up into the corner, so it wasn't just too tight and not sitting properly, it was pulling on him as well. So yeah, we wouldn't have even been due our 2 weekly appointment yet, even though we were missing 1 week because we were away. So yeah, not great. We've actually been told that he needs to go up a size in the harness now. So apparently what's meant to happen is the straps that go over the shoulder should sit sort of in line with where like your nipples would be. But where he's grown since he's had it fitted, the arm straps are really close to the armpit, which means where the leg straps come off of that, they're sitting way too far out, which is why his knee keeps slipping out of the harness, which makes perfect sense now when I look at it. So when we go back, and I've actually been given an appointment for Monday, so literally the day after I think it is we get back, I'm going to go in, and we're going to be fitted with a different harness, so a medium-sized harness, which should stop the problem happening. So we're going back on Monday to just have him assessed, given he's been sort of in a funny position for a few days now, have a harness change, and then I'm going back again on the Thursday for his regular appointment. So we should be able to give him a little bit of a double bath that week, which will be great. But yeah, so feeling much better that he's comfortable now. But again, feeling super guilty that he was left so uncomfortable for, as long as he was. And I knew something wasn't right. I knew as soon as I saw the harness that day that something wasn't right. But then sort of listening to him and seeing how he was sort of reacting and the noises he was making, instinct, intuition, whatever, I just knew something wasn't right. So I'm really glad I persisted with trying to get somebody to assess him, and fair play to the lady that we spoke to. She was fantastic. She took so much time going through things with us on WhatsApp call, sort of talking us through each strap, how it should look, what it should be doing, where it should be, if we really do need to change it or adjust it, what we need to do. She did make clear that it's not ideal to be playing with the straps and the harness generally outside of the clinic, just in case things don't go back where they need to be. But sometimes like this situation, you've got no choice, and for us to be sort of better informed and to understand exactly what the harness should be doing means that we feel a lot more confident to make the adjustments if we need to. And she did sort of say to me that if I need to contact her back if I've got any more concerns, then I can absolutely do that. I think when they're dealing with babies, they sort of appreciate that there's another level of worry and anxiety for parents, and as I was saying, like, they do grow so quickly, so just because his harness fits well today, in 2 days it might not fit well again. So I'm really super glad we got that sorted, and yeah, so feeling good now. We'll just see what happens, but yeah, happy mum today that we've got that sorted. Catch you later.